Before there was casting for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and if Guillermo del Toro was going to do the Boris Karloff traditional Frankenstein, imagine if he got frequent collaborator Ron Perlman as Frankenstein. Seriously, Hellboy as Frankenstein? That would be awesome. Hey movie buffs, I'm Jack Benner and welcome to my review of Frankenstein. This is the newest retelling of Mary Shelley's classic novel of Frankenstein from director Guillermo del Toro, and this film stars Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, and Christoph Waltz. If you somehow don't know the story of Frankenstein, it tells the life of Victor Frankenstein, played by Oscar Isaac, the brilliant but egotistical scientist whose scientific experiment at creating new life and cheating God with a creature that leads to dangerous consequences. Before I get into my review, any new viewers coming across my channel for the first time, welcome to my channel. I am Jack Benner. I do movie reviews on here, both old and new. And from time to time, I do some lists on here, either a top 5 or ranking video. So if you like either of those, you're definitely in the right place. So you like movie content, like what you see so far, definitely considering that like and subscribe button for more exciting movie content down the road. Given that throughout film history, there are over 400 versions of Frankenstein with different iterations, the 1931 film, Bride of Frankenstein, or even a Frankenstein parody from Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein. And if there was one director in Hollywood I have always wanted to see their take on a classic Frankenstein story, one director comes to mind for me, Guillermo del Toro. With his visionary craftsmanship at creature effects, practical effects, makeup, cinematography, and grand sets that allow his creativity and imagination come to life. But he's also excellent with telling both dark, mystical stories that also feel personal equally. His great filmography always has something to amaze from him. I think both Hellboy movies are awesome, and I couldn't imagine any other director to adapt the Hellboy comics than Guillermo del Toro and the charisma of Ron Perlman. Seriously, they should have made a Hellboy 3 with del Toro and Ron Perlman. The Shape of Water is also a great and beautifully told film. Nightmare Alley is a great underrated gem from him, and I also adored his stop-motion retelling of Pinocchio. And I am crossing my fingers Guillermo del Toro makes another stop-motion animation movie someday. And I think his two best films are his version of Pinocchio and Pan's Labyrinth. That movie is a stunning blend of dark fantasy and reality that's also tragic and breathtaking. Just please go watch it. I think it's his magnum opus. His one-of-a-kind visionary skills and filmography are the key reasons why he's one of my favorite filmmakers working today. But more so as a person, he just seems like a very passionate storyteller who's intelligent, creative, artistic, and imaginative. And when I heard he was doing a Frankenstein movie, I was about to burst with happiness. Because everything I lauded about Guillermo del Toro earlier are the reasons exactly why I believe he was tailor-made to do a Frankenstein movie. And this movie was very high on my most anticipated films for the rest of the year, as well as personally my most anticipated Netflix movie for the rest of the year. And Wake Up Dead Man: A Knives Out Mystery would be my runner-up. And I watched Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein on Netflix a few days ago, very excited, and I am over the moon to tell you this is not only a phenomenal retelling of Frankenstein, but it's a phenomenal film in general, and it's one of the best from Del Toro, and one of the best movies I have seen this year. This movie is just incredible. To start my praises, Guillermo del Toro. His craftsmanship for this movie is remarkable. Now at this point, saying a Guillermo del Toro movie looks beautiful, honestly that's like saying water is wet. Of course it is! On a technical standpoint, Frankenstein is one of the most visually stunning films of the year. From the top-notch production design that's gargantuan and awe-inspiring of recreating the mid-1850s using a different time period for this Frankenstein story, and whether that's look of the tower with the laboratory on top, or the Arctic landscapes are all beautiful to look at. And the costume designs are all fantastic and very authentic. And with the cinematography, this film is shot by Dan Lawson, who is a frequent collaborator on Del Toro, who also shot Shape of Water and Nightmare Alley. And plus, he also shot the John Wick movie movies, and I think the fourth John Wick has the best looking cinematography, and Lausen shot a gorgeous looking movie with the colors, the massive shots, and the excellent camera movements Del Toro uses. And there are just so many standout shots in this movie that are beautifully framed and incredible to look at like a painting that are stuck in my head. But not just technically, but storytelling, this film is also powerful. In a blend that feels both faithful to a Frankenstein story, but also feels distinct like this is Del Toro's version of that story. With some differences in the story, such as omitting characters like Henry and Justine, plus there are major events that are changed here, more of the depiction on the creature being a tragic character, as well as the ending is very different. However, I was not bothered by these changes, and I viewed them as welcome changes that never once detract from this being a fascinating new take that can bring a lot to the table, allowing for more character depth to enhance this new take, and carrying the traditional themes of Frankenstein here. How this film focuses on love, loss, trauma, but also forgiveness and redemption. And using what I think is the most crucial theme of this Frankenstein is fatherhood, and tying in with creation, and how this film largely focuses on the creator's compunction. And using this story as either man versus man with Victor and creature, but also the inner conflict Victor has, man versus himself. I feel like this shows that even if this can't be 100% faithful to Frankenstein, what it can bring to the table for the narrative and thematically can elevate this to be distinguished from the rest of the Frankenstein movies we have gotten in the past. And what I found to be an excellent choice in this new version of Frankenstein is the story structure. Surprised watching this film, it is split up episodically in 3 chapters. How it begins with a prelude in a Navy ship in the Arctic, and then it shifts to the perspectives of Victor, then to the creature. From my perspective, I found it to be a brilliant approach to this story that's not only beautifully directed, but also feels methodical, where it succeeds at being a character-driven story to set everything up purposefully, and how each story continues to add more layers. And another thing to praise about this movie are the terrific performances from the cast. There is not one single actor that's a weak link, and everyone is at the top of their game. Starting off, Oscar Isaac is fantastic as Victor Frankenstein in one of, if not the best performance I have personally seen from him. And this is an actor who's always been giving great performances like Ex Machina, but this is definitely a strong candidate for his best performance. Isaac phenomenally captures the passionate and brilliant mind, but especially his inner conflict of his ego and eventual compunction by his creation that leads to his consequences. He also has this enticing way of selling his ego and manipulating those around him in a way that makes you fascinated with him, in a version of the character that does make you feel sorry for him, but there are moments where you also hate him and found him to be malicious. And another thing Oscar Isaac sells is the tragedy of Victor. And from his childhood, when Victor dealt with the loss of his mother in childbirth, and when his little brother William got older, and his strict father favored William over Victor in dealing with favoritism, and carrying that strict upbringing by his father to his scientific creation. An incredible performance that Oscar Isaac just nails everything about this character, bringing the depth, the tragedy, it's all incredible. And Mia Goth is also amazing as Elizabeth, offering an emotionally powerful take with her character and her being the emotional anchor to Creature. And some of the most powerful moments in the film are involving her character and with little dialogue where she's interacting with the creature and seeing his humanity. And we got great supporting performances from Christoph Waltz as a new character, Harlander. And Christoph Waltz always does a great job in his second Del Toro movie since Pinocchio. And we also got Felix Kammerer, hope I said his last name correctly, if not, I apologize. And you may remember him from the 2022 All Quiet on the Western Front, which I thought he was fantastic in. And he gives a great performance in this movie as Victor's little brother, William. And now let's get to the standout of this movie, one who absolutely crushes it. And that is, of course, Jacob Elordi as the Creature. Absolutely, with a capital A, steals this entire movie. Elordi gives a dominant, imposing, but ultimately tragic, heartbreaking, transformative, and unrecognizable performance. In some ways, it did kind of remind me of Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok in Nosferatu last year, but I would say this is way more different than that. I feel like there was much more tragedy and depth with Elordi's Creature than Skarsgård's Orlok, but what I'm saying is more of how unrecognizable they were. Just like, that was Jacob Elordi under all that makeup? unbelievable. And also just the moments where he gets to be terrifying. Wow. It gave me chills. And the prelude set the stage for how imposing the creature is. And that also helps since Jacob Elordi in reality is 6'5", and you get to see how brutal and vengeful he is, and also doing an amazing job acting with his eyes. And that part of the story perfectly gives intrigue for the rest of the story, just like, what exactly happened? How did this lead to that? And the first time he's brought to life, he's childlike in his need for love and affection from Victor, and how much he's learning about life and discovering the world. And also the physicality and how he moves and walks. That just adds incredible attention to detail with his performance. Plus his booming voice, and it was just like, can't believe that was Jacob Elordi, just still. And once the story shifts to his perspective, there's a very powerful sequence that Elordi carries, where he's at this cabin with this old blind man, and he sometimes see him and he's just hiding from the rest of the people. And that entire sequence is just beautiful and powerful and showing his humanity and compassion, and him making more discoveries and growing his intelligence more and more. And later in the film, when he becomes more vengeful and his rage increases and increases, it's honestly terrifying. And just the one line he says, I'm probably paraphrasing this, if you do not fill me with love, I will indulge in rage. Just that line delivery, just... Damn! This is an absolutely phenomenal performance with depth, tragedy, attention to detail that I just can't stop thinking about. It's honestly one of the best performances I have seen this year. And let me tell you this, if he is not nominated for an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor, I will be pissed off because he seriously deserves a nomination. And so far, him and Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, those two are my picks for Best Supporting Actor of 2025. And kudos to the incredible makeup work. Succeeds at making Jacob Elordi unrecognizable, just from the stitches and how hideous this creature looks. And plus with the hairstyling too, with the time period, I could definitely see this film being a lock to win the Oscar for makeup and hairstyling. And Alexander Desplat delivers another beautiful and powerful score, just like with The Shape of Water and Del Toro's Pinocchio, to make this film deep and haunting. Now with the ending of this film, it is different like I said earlier, but this one I believe feels well earned with the characters and knows how to hit just the right impact, and plus an incredible final shot. As for any issues with the film, I did hear some people had some criticisms with the pacing in the first half of this movie, finding it a little slow to get going, but honestly, I didn't mind the 2.5 hour runtime. I was engaged from beginning to end, and I didn't really have a problem with the slow pacing. I felt like it was deliberate for this film, so criticisms, I don't really have any, just loved it. To sum up, for this being a long-time passion project from Guillermo del Toro, I am over the moon to say his Frankenstein not only met my expectations, but surpasses them. It's a deep, grim, brutal, haunting, tragic, and powerful retelling of this Frankenstein story. It's masterfully directed by Del Toro. It's thematic, visually stunning, and has incredible performances from Oscar Isaac and especially Jacob Elordi. If you are fans of both Guillermo del Toro's past work and love the Frankenstein lore, stories, and movies, please go watch this film immediately. Now I feel bad I didn't get the chance to see this movie in theaters. It would have been incredible. I just didn't have enough time. But either way, I am so happy I watched it on Netflix because it's incredible. It feels so rewarding to see a visionary artist like Guillermo del Toro bring his vision to classic stories such as Pinocchio and Frankenstein, to make them both phenomenal, craft them visually stunning, and to make them stand the test of time. And I did get similar vibes with Robert Eggers' Nosferatu last year, my favorite film of last year, where it felt like it did honor the source material, but also paved the way for the director's own version of the story. And I feel like that's what Del Toro does the same here with Pinocchio and this film. This is not only one of my favorite Del Toro movies, but it's one of my top 5 favorite films I have seen this year. And now to grade it, I'm going to give Frankenstein, but bam! 5 out of 5 stars, an A+. I am thrilled to finally see Guillermo del Toro make a Frankenstein movie, and it's this amazing. And I can definitely see this movie down the road being one of the best versions of the Frankenstein story. And now to give you my picks for my top 5 favorite Guillermo del Toro directed films. Number 5, Nightmare Alley. Number 4, The Shape of Water. Number 3, That's Where Frankenstein Is. Number 2, his version of Pinocchio. And number 1, Pan's Labyrinth. And those are my top 5 favorite Guillermo del Toro movies. And what would be your favorites in the comments below? And I hope with the great reviews, I hope this movie gets Oscar love, not just in the tech categories, but some above the line. I definitely think it could get in for Best Picture. The Academy seems to love Del Toro with The Shape of Water winning Best Picture, him winning Best Animated Film for Pinocchio, despite that was the only nomination for that movie. Like, come on. And Nightmare Alley got a surprise nomination, which was great. So I could definitely see this film getting in for Best Picture. Don't know about director or adapted screenplay, but we'll see. And for acting, please nominate Jacob Elordi for Best Supporting Actor. He deserves it. As for text, it's definitely getting in for production design, costumes, cinematography, makeup, and original score. And I could see it winning production design even over Wicked for Good since the first movie won, but Guillermo del Toro, his movies always look beautiful, so I could see this film winning in that category. As well as makeup, just the achievement of making Elordi the creature was phenomenal, so it's definitely winning that category. So definitely those are my hopes for the Oscar nominations this film will likely receive, and we'll see how this award season goes for this movie. So I would like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein? Have you seen it? Do you agree, disagree with my review? Or if you haven't seen it, are you interested in checking out the film or not? Let me know down below. Did you enjoy hearing my thoughts on this movie? Want to see more reviews like this in the future? If yes, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for my next upload in the future. It really means a lot. My social media links will be in the description down below. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, and if you'd like to see my render reviews, I do have a letterbox, so if you'd like to follow me on there as well. And until the next video, I'm Jack Benner, and look forward to another movie review.